All right, welcome back. Here we are today, guys. Thank you for joining our partner spotlight. Today we are going to be talking about Maui. Very excited to have a special guest with us. First of all, I'm Colter Fleming. I'm your strategic account manager for Classic Vacations based in Orange County. And I am joined by my colleague and counterpart, to the north, in Southern California, that is, Joseph Barney.
Thanks, Colter. Hi, everyone. I'm Joseph Barney. I am the strategic account manager for Southern California, north of Orange County, Los Angeles, up the coast to the San Francisco Bay Area, and also Hawaii. I'm here in Los Angeles, and it's very nice to see you guys all joining us today. And we have a great guest here. We have Angela Vento from the Wailea Beach Resort in Maui.
Why, thank you and welcome. It's great to be with you both, Colton and Joseph. Thanks for allowing us to have time with you today. And also just congratulations on this unique and excellent way to communicate. I'm just really excited to learn more about it. And so it's been a fun journey so far.
Thank you. Thank you. So you have a lot going on. This has been a huge few weeks for Hawaii and Maui. So tell us a little bit about your destination and your property. Also, we'd love to hear a little bit more about you and your background.
Okay, well, why don't we start with who I am first? Does that sound okay?
That would be great.
Awesome. So, I came to the islands in 1989. I still claim that I'm only 29 years old. So the math, it's new math. So I'm not sure it really works out from that end. But I have spent most of my adult life here in the islands. I was fortunate to come with Hyatt at that time, and I opened the Hyatt Kauai, which when I arrived was 2 concrete slabs back in those days. And I've had the good fortune to work with several companies, and with the Marriott company really for the last 21 years, working between them and Starwood would be what I would call my 2 foundational companies from that end. With that, what's been fun for me is I've worked in the sales world and I've worked in operations. And as time has gone by, it's about equal in both. But I think the sales world has never left my DNA because the customer and our guests and our clients are first and foremost in my mind. And so with that, if you think back to, that's 31 years ago I moved here. So obviously the math of 29 doesn't work, okay? So I'll just call that out straight out. But I've had a chance to live on multiple islands. I've been in roles that led the region in French Polynesia. So it's been near and dear to me. And I've spent all but 5 years of that 31 here in the islands. So I feel like I've gotten a chance to really mature with Aloha spirit. To be able to see hotels open. That's been one of my specialties. And I spent 5 years with, somehow I just thought this desire to move to the Atlantic coast. I spent 5 years in Boston at the New England's largest convention hotel. Yeah, I did cold weather. I did the fall changes of the season. And I've been back here in Maui for just over 3 years. So it's great to be back. And I think really a celebration from that end. So my career and history has been in hotels. And I really think it's been kind of part of what my passion is of being able to welcome visitors as though they're coming into my own home. So that's a little bit of my background from that end. You know, you asked me, Colter, kind of what's been up with my days from right now. I'm in 3 days before we open. So it is a very, very busy time. For me, really the hotel comes to life through the people. And so for the last 7 months, there's been a very small team here. And I felt like our soul was not live and vibrant. But in this last 2 weeks, we welcomed our ladies and gentlemen here. We've done training and preparation for the new cleaning protocols that we have. We've gone through our new services. And so really, I will tell you the energy at the resort is at an all-time high. Our team is ready to welcome guests. And eager to be able to provide a full service opportunity. And I think that's one of the call outs for us that's different. When we open, we'll have in-room dining, we'll have our restaurants, we'll have our pools, we'll have our activities such as hula and ukulele lessons. And so we are really looking to ensure that when customers arrive, when your clients arrive, their experience emulates what they would do when they came the last visit. Yes, there's a few things. You have to have the safety protocol. And you and I talked about this earlier, both of you. Hawaii's got some rules. And they're rules to protect visitors, and they're rules to protect our communities. So we could talk about that later if you'd like to, but does that help kind of let you know what the last couple weeks have been like?
Yeah. So just a follow-up question, if I may. So how many of those years and how many different properties have been in Hawaii, and how much of that time has been in Maui?
Oh man, I didn't count. You didn't prep me for that
Sorry.
Well, let me just count, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. I've done a couple properties twice, just so
Okay.
You know. Over a dozen. Let's call it that. Okay.
Very cool.
Over a dozen. I've been on Kauai, I've been on Maui, I've been on Oahu, and then, as I mentioned, I had a regional role with Starwood where I did Hawaii and French Polynesia. So I feel like I've gotten a good sense to be able to infuse myself on all the islands from that end. So that's been really great. And to also been involved in some of the visitor industry elements. Classic, you have been at some of our hotels for your events. So it feels like forever, a friendship for years and years and years. So we're really grateful for that in all my career moves.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you for mentioning that. And lastly, sort of speaking to your career a little bit more, what drew you to the industry, and how did you get your start?
Okay. Well, I have a chemistry major from Emory University in Atlanta, Georgia.
Holy cow. Great school.
And I thought I was going to be a dentist from the age of 7. Okay. And when I was in college, Emory decided they were going to close their dental school. And so I finished up my degree, and a couple of friends and I were talking about what was the next step. And I had always been involved in events and planning things and organizing. And a call of one of my best friends today, she said, why don't you go and look at the hotels? Like you'd be awesome at that. And so really with little information, I did some research, and I went in and got a job in the hotel business. And I started in housekeeping, which I think was a great place to be because you get to understand the nuts and bolts. You get to be able to work side by side with for people that come from diverse backgrounds. And so it really was a great place and foundation for me, and a great appreciation. I think at the core of me, I enjoy people, and I think that's what brings us to life. So while I was there, I had a chance to move into sales and marketing. And then in the late 80s, early 90s, there was an influx of hotels. And so I moved from Atlanta, Georgia to Hawaii. And I thought I could not go through my career with saying, what if? And my thought is, if Hawaii didn't work out for me, I could always return someplace else. Mm-hmm. And I really thought initially it was going to be 1 or 2 years, maybe 3. But I found that the opportunities, I found that it made me a better person. And I found just the quality of life worked for me. And so I have actually stayed. And even when I was in Boston, I know now I'm going to make myself sound really silly. My husband commuted from Maui to Boston.
Holy cow.
Yes, for 5 years. And we're still happily married, I would tell you. But when I left, we never really left. And so I think that's been kind of part of it. It just has been a special place. I've grown up here and continued to be inspired to be here and make us better every day.
Thank you. That is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, when you say the quality of life, that's what I always think about when I'm in Hawaii. You know, it's just, there's something magical about it. And, you know, the people I know who live there just absolutely love it. And they always seem so happy and content. And I always get that energy from people there, and you have that same energy. It's really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I have another question for you, Angela. Well, actually, I'm going to add a bonus question because I'm a trivia person, and you said something that piqued my interest. So is the largest convention hotel in New England, is that the Marriott or the Westin at Copley Plaza?
No, it was neither of those. It was the Sheraton Boston. which was 1,300 rooms connected to the Heinz Convention Center.
Okay.
But you know, at a point as we came together, all those three hotels, the Westin Copley, the Marriott, and the Sheraton were all part of one thing. So yeah, it was a fun adventure from that end, where our guests only stayed 2.5 days, right?
Yeah.
And one day you would have an anime conference, and the next day you would have the Bankers Association. So it was very different.
Yeah, that's cool, but it's hard to compete with Maui. So
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Why we're here today, right?
yeah.
And
So
this view, I took this picture just so you know.
You took
Not
it?
this week, but that was sunset. Isn't that awesome?
that's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
need to
I'm
get
even
that.
more impressed that you took that. I mean, that is beautiful.
Well, yeah, I might have had a little, yeah, I did. Yeah, absolutely.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you. If it was your last, if you were a guest at your own resort and it was your last day there, what would be your itinerary for that day? What would you do to savor your last day there?
Okay, let me think just a minute. Well, I guess I should tell you my passions, right? That probably would help. I love the water. That is one of the places where I get energy. And so I think the other thing is living in Hawaii and working with so many of like your travel advisors and your partners. I'm an early riser. So the morning is my time of day. Literally staying up to 10 o'clock's a problem for me. Okay, so I'll just put that right out of the gate. So I think one of the wonderful things about our resort, which Wailea Beach Resort has been in this location as a couple different hotels. It opened as the Intercontinental. It's been rebranded from that in. And we've been really under the label of Wailea Beach Resort since 2016. And so with that, we have the good fortune of being right at Ocean's Edge. That has been an amazing place from that end. Our rooms and accommodations are right there, and you can hear with your lanai door open or on one of our sun deck rooms, the water lapping against the shore every day. So I would want to wake up early and I want to have my Nespresso coffee first thing. That's what I would do. And then I get on my shoes and I would want to go on a walk through the Wailea Beach Path because I love it that it goes from rocky coastline to sandy beaches and around. And it's not too strenuous that you can't get your heart pumping, but it also isn't too fatiguing from that end. So I'd start with a walk. And then usually about this time of day, 8 o'clock's a great time to get in the water. And I find the turtles are out. The other day, there was a manta ray in front of the resort. And I think this little, I would say, reef in front of us is terrific. And there's a turtle tour. I like to swim myself. And so with that, I think I do a snorkel, right? I do a snorkel, I get back, and we have a partnership restaurant. Roy Yamaguchi, you may know him. Roy actually owns and runs the Humble Market Kitchen. And it's spelled with an Kitchin, not En. Yes, we do know how to spell. But it's a page homages to his grandfather that had a market here in Maui. And I have to tell you, there's so many food allergies nowadays. They have this gluten-free pancake with coconut syrup that I have to have it. So that's where I would go for my breakfast. And then, after all that, I'm probably exhausted, right? So we have these amazing cabanas. And while this is a picture of our Ohi pool, our Malahia pool, which is our adult serenity pool, is where I would get a cabana for the day. And I just would probably do nothing. I probably had already had a spa, a treatment or something like that. But I would just be pampered by one of our pool butlers. And so I think I would do that. Now, I can't sit still for too long. So I'd probably have to take a lap in the pool. But at some point, I think I'd want to go and get up. I'm a kid at heart. I think you can tell there's a playful side to me. I'd have to go down our water slides. Like literally, I have to go down water. I'm a fan of the open one because the Wipeout, which is the in-tube, it's fast. And so I'd have to do that a couple times to just say I finished my day with that. Funny, there is a restaurant, Kappa, which has onion rings that came from anybody who's been around a long time. The Andaz used to be the Renaissance, used to be the Weston. It's been through a couple brands. It has an onion ring recipe that we have at our resort that I think is the best Maui onion ring there is. So I'd have to have that at some point during my decadent day. And then we have a luau that we do, and I think it's just the perfect way to celebrate culture. We're changing a little bit, but I think that's what I'd have to do to celebrate my last night. To be able to just kind of experience and feel like I'm part of being able to take that piece with me. So that would be probably my last day. And as I already told you, by 10 o'clock, I'd be asleep. Yeah. But as you can see why I'd be asleep, filled with energy and a full day.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Especially the pancakes.
I know.
They're amazing. I keep trying to do them at home, but I can't get them right. So
Gluten-free too, right?
I know, which is great. They're made with a mochi rice instead of flour.
Okay.
And that's the difference. So they have just a little unique flavor to them that's not overpowering, but is just, it's, as I said, it's the best pancake I've ever had.
Oh, I'm going to get that when I come to Maui.
Okay.
Yeah, it sounds like it sounds like you really know how to live it up while traveling. So you know, that was a great description of a day at your property. But you know, think about for a second here. Do you have maybe a place or two that you've been admiring and you know looking forward to? You know, sometime maybe in the coming months or year that you want to travel to. Could be Hawaii, could be Maui, it could be anywhere in the world.
I'm going to say anywhere in the world. Okay. Because as you heard me talk about my passion for the ocean, I think if I wasn't a GM, and I know this is going to sound silly, I'd be a mermaid. That would be my dream job. So, you know, with that kind of thinking about a place to relax, but you can obviously tell I have to have activity around. I've never been to the Great Barrier Reef, and I think that's a place that I'd like to be able to go and adventure. And our location, and certainly makes it not so inaccessible. It's not such a hard trip. So I think that would be the top of my list, to be able to combine all of those things and travel. So that would probably be the first one on my list. But I have a senior in high school right now. And so I think that he and my husband, we all share certain passions for travel. So we like culture, we like dining and activities. So I think as long as that we like urban. So we have a pretty big bucket list, but I'm sure I could get them on that Australia trip next.
Yeah, I don't think anyone would say no to Australia.
Yeah, yeah.
I like that. And is your high school senior looking at colleges?
Oh my goodness, yes. I was working and reviewing his essays last night. We have 3 applications due this week, so
my goodness, yeah, that's a busy time.
It is, but that's okay. Yeah.
On the mainland or in the islands?
He's on the mainland from that end, all different places. So, you know, hard to be able to know where you want to go now. So we'll see.
Yeah,
well, that's an exciting time.
Yeah.
Wow. So tell us. I think everyone, you know, I know Joseph and I, and a lot of our travelers and clients are very interested in the situation in Maui, what you guys have been going through, and just sort of the journey that has been this year. Tell us about that a little bit.
I'd be happy to. So I think one of the things that I want you, Classic, to know, and certainly your partners to know, is I think all along the way there have been a core group of tourism leaders, general managers, working closely with the mayors and the county. And through that, we've fostered some really unique relationships over 7 months. And I think one of the most uplifting calls and conversations I had to have was with Lieutenant Governor Josh Green. As we started to do some changes in who is leading this travel piece, and he met with us personally and talked about his own journey and talked about the perspective of being a doctor and talked about the numbers to help us feel better about people getting on planes to travel here, to help us understand that with the testing, it was going to protect the community. And it was going to be important for us to follow rules because we're a small community very far away from lots of resources. And so I think there has been a thoughtful plan. And I think most of us know in business, we've had to shift. So I think that was one of the first relationships that I felt like the politician was being real with me and telling us what his thoughts. And you may know he contracted COVID, so he could tell you right from the place, and it came from the fact that he had a cup of coffee at the wrong time without his mask, right? So with that, then probably about 2 or 3 weeks later, we started talking about, what were the options? Could we do a bubble? Do we start with that? Do we do testing? And we realized a bubble just delayed us, right? It just added something cumbersome. We needed to do something that helped us be able to open Hawaii in the right way, and not have to step back, because stepping back was really going to be a hard thing for our industry and for our residents. I mean, I think one of the most startling facts that you probably may know or not, Maui has the highest unemployment in the country. And only 7 months ago, it had the lowest unemployment in the country. And so those are really startling facts to be able to see how many people have been affected by these types of things. And so with that, the safe travel, the app, and all of those things came to pass. And the hardest part was I can't get a COVID test, right? And so then they came up with trusted partners. And I think communication to make sure people know what to do. And so we started with 7 trusted partners. They're 40 now, right?
Wow.
And I will tell you, the first day, the first flight that arrived, they got through the process in 45 minutes. Okay, so we were so excited. I'm talking to one of my colleagues and friends that's open, and they said, breeze, people are happy. They were at the bar, they're having cocktails already. And then the afternoon flights came in, and it took 2.5 hours. So, I think the messaging is every day we get better and better and better. And so I keep hearing better news about getting testing, being able to understand the apps. And yes, we've had some hurdles, but it's improving. It's improving. I think there's people who haven't paid close attention to what the guidelines are about the Safe Travel app. And so that causes problems. So just education is really important. I drove home late last night. It was about 8:30, and there are signs on the side of the road that talk about wear your mask. This is a startling fact. Well, we talk about it. And someone visited me the other day, and he says, "Oh, I tested negative. I don't have to wear my mask, do you?" And I said, "Well, we do, because you don't know where I've been, you've been, but it's crazy." I know some people that were at a local park with their kids, and they weren't wearing their mask, and they were issued. The fine is crazy. It's $5,000.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think it's not as though they try to put a fine that says wearing a mask is vital. And so last night as I drove home, there's signs on the side of the road that were like road work ahead that say wearing a mask is essential. So it's not about I got you. It's just about making sure we're doing those things well. So I think we learn every day. I think as more people travel, we've been averaging about 800 arrivals a day. It started at 12, 16. It's been about 8 to 1,000 people on a plane a day. 50% of those are residents returning. But we get better, and we've found ways and solutions for most of them. And so I feel like these next 3 weeks are really important to us, saying we're safe and we're a great place to travel and we have the amenities you want. So does that kind of answer your question on kind of what I see?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great overview of everything. And I think that's, it's nice to hear it from someone who's there, because people want that reassurance of someone who's there on the ground and experiencing it, and to understand how it works and that it is safe. And I think all of that is very reassuring. And, I think another important takeaway for me from this was the fact that you are fully open, that all of the amenities for returning guests who are used to the restaurants and the room service and everything are as they were before, with just some new safety precautions, but all of the same amenities are there. And that's I think a really important message.
And Joseph, we're using technology, but technology doesn't replace service in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Technology is a complement to service. And if we're going to use technology, we have to deliver well. So I would tell you, as you look at it, you and your partners are very high touch, right? So we have a great communication piece that goes out, and we have a website that allows people to plan. For instance, at the poolside, we've reduced 30% of our pool chairs. We've numbered each chair, and so you can be down there and you can reserve your chair online ahead of being here. So that your complimentary chairs can be reserved, as well as cabanas, which have a fee to them. Or you can reserve a candlelight dinner. So there's some things that, you know, allow a customer to do that, or the travel partner to be able to do that, that help make things easier. Like, how many hotels have you been to that at 6:30 in the morning, people are down there waiting to try to get a chair?
Oh my gosh.
You'll know you got one, right? So you know you're going to go to chair 102. It's at Ohi Pool. I've got that for half the day. And I know Patsy's going to wait on me, and I can order through my phone if I want pool service, or Patsy will be right there if I need her at the call pod. So you've got the tools for whatever level of safety you feel like you need, right?
Yeah, that's great. It's the best of both worlds.
It is.
Well, this was wonderful, Angela. We really, really appreciate you coming on with us today. And it was a pleasure getting to know you better and your amazing history in the islands. And we just want to thank you for your partnership. And I know all of our travel partners are going to be really excited to learn more about Wailea Beach Resort. So thank you so much for joining us today. We really, really appreciate it.
Joseph and Colton, it's been a pleasure, and thank you for including us. I'm here to be support for you and your partners, so thank you so much. Mahalo nui loa.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Mahalo.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.